You may have noticed how some social media influencers tend to reveal a little bit too much about their personal lives online. This got me wondering, why do individuals feel compelled to share so much? Is it genuine vulnerability or is there something deeper at play? You see, oversharing is often confused with vulnerability, but let's not get it twisted. They are not equivalent. In fact, from a psychological standpoint, oversharing can lead to unintended consequences such as feelings of shame. True vulnerability involves setting healthy boundaries. It's about sharing from a place of understanding and self awareness rather than letting your emotions spill out in an unrestrained manner online or seeking validation from strangers. When an individual chooses to overshare, especially regarding painful or personal experiences, they might inadvertently invite self judgment rather than find the healing they seek. It's crucial to recognize that social media is not a replacement for a therapist's office. When you put your struggles on display without filters, you potentially expose yourself to misinterpretation, criticism, and even exploitation. Rather than fostering connections, oversharing can lead to disconnection, regret, and feelings of deep, deep shame. Now, let's look at how shaming online typically unfolds. We often see a pattern emerge. Firstly, someone might post a deeply personal story or revelation. Next, the audience reacts. Some might show empathy, but there are also many others who will criticize, belittle, or attack the individual. This leads to what I call the shame spiral. A person realizes they have shared a little bit too much, which can result in regret. They might delete the post, become defensive, or decide to double down on the initial statement. Lastly, we must remember that the internet never forgets. A momentary outpouring of what seems like authenticity can become a permanent part of one's digital identity, potentially being used against them somewhere down the line. This isn't constructive healing. It's public exposure without the safety net that comes from trust. True vulnerability is meant for those who have earned the right to hear our stories, not a random group of people fixated on gaining engagement. Before you click that post button, consider a few questions. What is my intention behind sharing this? Am I sharing to process my feelings, or am I seeking attention and validation? What would I feel comfortable saying in a room full of strangers? If I can't do that with strangers, then why am I doing it on social media? Who do I trust enough to share this information with? Vulnerability needs to exist within safe and trustworthy relationships, not just in the comments section of a post. How will I reflect on this post a year from now? Will I regret sharing these details? And finally, am I confusing vulnerability with recklessness? Healthy vulnerability requires courage, but it must also come with wisdom. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and discuss another concerning trend. Certain behaviors that are being glorified as entertainment, empowerment, or simply a means to gain social media clout. We see wild stories often shared for shock value, which celebrate what would traditionally be considered as irresponsible choices. It seems there is an ongoing cultural shift pushing boundaries further for the sake of views and engagement. Consider the story of the influencer who talked about a casual sexual encounter in the club's loo. This trend seems to embrace hypersexuality as a marker of personal freedom, but it appears to be more about gaining attention, which can lead to brand deals and online fame. Interestingly enough, some women defend this behavior by claiming she's just doing it for the money, suggesting that the quest for clout and financial gain falsifies the notion of unacceptable actions. Similarly, there was also another story of an individual who was treating marriage as a series of casual, disposable milestones. This perspective diminishes the importance of commitment, turning relationships into mere accessories that people switch in and out of as they progress through life, often leading to instability. Both of these cases illustrate a troubling trend. Behaviors once seen as reckless are being repackaged and celebrated under the guise of feminism or empowerment, but we must question who benefits in the long run. For each individual who successfully turns shocking behavior into a source of income, there are many more who will adopt these attitudes thinking it's normal, only to encounter the harsh realities that don't come with the promise of financial gain. Let's face it, social media thrives on extreme emotions. The more personal and outrageous the content, the more visibility it tends to attract. Some even monetize their traumas, transforming personal pain into shareable content. And therein lies the danger, when the line between healing and performance becomes blurred. So, what does healthier behavior look like? It's quite straightforward actually. Share insights rather than raw wounds. Take the time to process your emotions in private and share your reflections after you have gained some clarity. 2. Cultivate genuine connections by having meaningful personal discussions in private or face-to-face rather than in the public forums. 3. Establish boundaries. Not every thought or experience needs a wide audience. While oversharing might feel liberating in the moment, remember that true healing and growth genuinely occur in safe and nurturing environments, not in the public eye.